If your AI agent finally does something useful for you, yesterday stung a little. Because a $1 trillion company just launched one that makes it look like a toy. It's called GrokBot. It's installed and open on my machine right now. And I'm walking you through the whole thing live. Then the prices nobody else is saying out loud. Then 5 questions I'd want answered before it touches your company card. And by the end, you won't need my verdict because you'll be able to make this call yourself. And that's worth more, because there's another launch like this every month. One thing before we start, so you know the gap we're filling. I watched the 2 biggest videos on this launch back to back. Over half an hour of footage between them, and neither one says a single price. The cheapest seat is $120 a month on a team plan. And if it's just you, the cheapest door is $200. And I'll show you exactly where those numbers hide on the page.
Hey, I'm Johnny Nel. I spent years building businesses the old hard way, managing teams, scaling operations, and doing everything manually. Today, everything I built, from automations and no-code infrastructures to fully AI SaaS products, has AI helping in one way or another. Firstly, let me quickly show you this. In South Africa, we call this a braai. I build with AI tools that, in my opinion, anyone can learn to use. My mission is simple: to help creators, entrepreneurs, and business owners get clarity with AI. Let's build smarter together and enjoy this video.
Let's start with what actually happened, because even the company name is confusing. The company is SpaceX AI. It used to be XAI, then SpaceX bought it earlier this year, and the merged company renamed itself in July. So when you see an article calling this an XAI product, that article is using a name that no longer exists. Yesterday, they released GrokBot, and it's an early beta, and I want you to hold onto that phrase for the rest of this video. It runs on Mac, Windows, Linux, and iPhone, with Android still coming, and the rollout is staggered. So if you can't get in today, that's normal. And one more piece explains how you actually buy this thing. SpaceX AI also owns Cursor now, the coding company, which is why GrokBot has no price of its own. It rides on Cursor's subscriptions, and that decision has consequences we'll get to, right? This is my screen, this is a fresh install, and this is everything you see the first time you open it. One button that says create your first bot. So let's do that. You pick a color, you pick a face, you give it a name, and the moment it exists, it asks you one question, which is, what do you mainly want me around for? And that question is doing more work than it looks like, because your answer becomes part of who this bot is. Every bot carries a name, a title, and a description. And here's the thing to actually understand. The description is the prompt. Whatever you write there, the bot reads it every single time it runs. So a content bot and a developer bot aren't different software. They're the same machine wearing different job descriptions. You'll also see the suggestions down here: a negotiator, a prototyper, a researcher, an apartment scout, which tells you who they think this is for. And it isn't only programmers. So creating a team of these takes minutes. The interesting part is what each one comes with, because every bot you create gets its own computer, not a metaphor, an actual machine in the cloud with a browser and a file system and a terminal, and it's on my screen now. And you can do 2 things with it that I want you to see. You can watch it work, live, every click, and you can grab the controls yourself. So I'm moving its mouse right now. I can open its browser and go anywhere, and then hand the control straight back. That machine is why this thing keeps working after you close your laptop. The work was never happening on your laptop. And honestly, that's the single biggest difference between this and most of what you've seen before. It's also why it can reach the software that has no modern connections at all. It signs into websites the way a person does in its own browser and drives the screen. The old system your business actually runs on, the one nothing integrates with, is suddenly reachable. Now, driving it by hand, I'll be straight with you. It's low resolution and it's slow, but you're not meant to drive it. You're meant to watch it. And there's one more reason this computer exists. You can teach it your work without writing a single instruction, because you show it once. There's a button called Teach a Task, and when you press it, it records your screen while you do the job the way you normally do. Walk through building your weekly report, pulling the numbers, formatting the thing, then hit stop, and it turns that demonstration into a skill it can repeat. And what it does next is the part I like most. It doesn't just run off. It asks you what this skill should be called. It asks clarifying questions about the steps, and it offers you a dry run before it does the job for real. Claude and ChatGPT have both shipped versions of this idea recently, and the reviewers who've compared them say this is the most natural version of it so far. And from what's on my screen, I understand why. For you, this means the training problem just changed shape. You're not documenting procedures for an AI. You're doing your job once with the recorder on, and in my opinion, that's the feature that makes this land with non-technical people. Then there's the marketplace, because on day one, this launched with a full plugin catalog, and that's on screen now. Gmail, Slack, Linear, Versal, Cloudflare, and it keeps scrolling. Connecting one is the same shape every time. You can click it here, or you can literally ask your bot for it in the chat, and it walks you through signing in. I'm stopping at the consent screen on camera because these are my real accounts, but that whole ceremony is sign in, approve, done. And the grammar stays out of your way. An @sign mentions a plugin, a slash runs a skill, and if you've used Codex, you already know this layout. But here's the part I'd want you to hear before you connect anything, because it's the part people will get wrong. Plugins and skills are shared across your whole team of bots. You connect your email to one bot. Every bot you have gets it. The only thing separating your researcher from your developer is the description they read. So the moment one bot can reach an account, assume they all can, and connect accordingly. Scheduled work gets its own tab, and they call them routines. And if you saw my last video, you already know this idea because it's cron with a friendlier name. You set when it runs, you can test it immediately, and you can read every past run afterwards, which is the receipt I keep telling you to demand from any of these tools. The twist they added is that you don't have to invent the schedule yourself. You ask the bot what's worth automating from the work it's already seen, and it proposes the routine itself and builds it. Ask for a morning digest across your calendar and your messages, and that request becomes a routine sitting in the panel made from one sentence. Now, the one that's genuinely new, your bots talk to each other, and you can read the conversation they had. Watch this. I've got two bots here, and I'm asking this one to check with the other one about a piece of work before starting. And it messages it. It actually sends it a message, waits for the answer, and reports back to me. And I can open the thread between them and read every word they exchanged. Think about what that replaces. Today, when you set up a new tool or a new assistant, you re-explain your whole business from zero. Here, a new bot asks an old bot, and the context transfers in one conversation instead of you typing it out for the 5th time. Neither of the big open source agents is built around this, and of everything in this product, this is the piece I expect the others to copy first. There's even a groups tab sitting in the app for full group chats between your bots. It doesn't work yet. And that's this product in one sentence. The ambition ships before the feature does. There's a phone app, and it's not a viewer. It's the same product. Desktop and iPhone stay in sync. So you pick up the same conversation mid-thought on either one. You can send a bot a voice note from the car. And you can take over a bot's cloud computer from the phone, which means checking what your agent did doesn't wait for a desk. That's the whole section, because it just works. And things that just work don't need long sections. And guys, everything we're walking through today is already written down on one page. It's the GrokBot decision sheet, and it has the full feature map you're watching, the questions to ask before you pay, and the yearly cost of every tier at 1 person, 3 people, and 10. It's waiting for you inside the AI Founders Vault, alongside the community and the assets from the last videos, and the link is down in the description below. Now, the money, because this is the part nobody else covered. This is the page you'd actually buy it from, recorded yesterday, and I want you to watch what it does. You can't buy GrokBot on its own. The launch announcement names exactly 3 subscriptions that get it. Super Grok Heavy, Cursor Ultra, and Cursor Teams Premium, and Enterprise doesn't get it at all yet. There's a waitlist. So here's what the doors cost, as reported today, because the announcement itself names the tiers but shows no prices. If it's just you, the cheapest way in is Cursor Ultra at $200 a month, or Super Grok Heavy at $300. The $120 everyone will quote is real, but read the label, it's per seat, per month on a team plan, so it's the cheapest seat, and it is not a solo option. Now watch the page itself, because it opens showing $20, and $20 is not a plan that gets you this. You have to click through to the expensive tiers before the real numbers appear. And I'm showing you the click because I want you to see them change on screen. And monthly numbers are designed to sound small, so let's say them in full. 1 person on Ultra is $2,400 a year. A 3-seat team on Premium is over $4,300. 10 seats is north of $14,000 a year. And at that point, this is a salary conversation. So treat it like one. I'm not telling you it's too expensive, because against even a few hours of real work a month, it might be cheap. I'm telling you the numbers because you should have heard them from somebody by now. And one more strange thing from that same site. The pricing page doesn't mention GrokBot anywhere. not once. And the only page on Cursor's whole site that names it is the Enterprise Contact Sales Form. So before you subscribe, confirm in writing what your tier actually includes. Because right now the page and the product are telling two different stories. Now the questions, and I want to be fair here, because this launched yesterday and no company documents everything on day one. But you're being asked to pay from day one. So you're allowed to ask from day one. Question 1. How much work do you actually get? There's no published allowance for how many jobs a bot can run on your plan. And when the product is a computer working around the clock, that's the first number I'd want. Question 2 follows from it. Billing is described as token-based, and the overage rates aren't published, which means the monthly price is a floor, not a ceiling. Ask what heavy use costs before you find out on an invoice. Question 3. Where do your logins live? This thing signs into your account, so it's holding credentials somewhere, and how they're stored isn't fully explained. That's not an accusation. It's the same question you'd ask anyone who wanted keys to your building. Question 4 is what it's allowed to do without asking you, and it deserves its own minute, so hold it. And question 5, what happens when it's wrong? There's no published recovery procedure, so if a bot runs all night and does 40 things and 11 are wrong, the unwind process is currently not written down anywhere I can find. So let's sit with question 4 properly. What does this thing do without asking you first? The promise is that bots work alone and come back when something needs your approval, and that's exactly the right design. The problem is that nobody has published which actions trigger that. So the sentence, it asks when it matters, is carrying the entire weight of your safety, and you don't get to see the list. And I'm not raising this as a thought experiment. In the last video, I tested the agent I use every day and found its approval setting shipped in a mode where a small background model decides what's worth interrupting you for. I asked it to delete a folder and it deleted it, and it never asked me once. That agent is open source, so I could read the code and find that out in an afternoon. Here the code is closed, the answer is unpublished, and the subscription starts at $120 a month. Then there's the detail on the pricing page that made me sit back, and it's on screen now. The controls for what a bot may run on its own and what it may reach on the network are listed in the enterprise column, the one where the button says contact sales. So the ability to draw that line yourself isn't a setting in the app you're buying. It appears to be a thing you negotiate. So who is this actually for? Because after everything I've shown you, I don't think it's bad, and I'd rather give you the honest split. If you're not technical and you want an agent that works the moment you open it, this is genuinely the best version of that I've seen. No setup, no model menus, no evening lost to a crashed install. It opened, I made a bot, and everything I've shown you today worked. The rough edges are real but small. The Files tab isn't finished, the group chat isn't live, the cloud screen is grainy when you drive it by hand. If you're the other kind of person, the one who wants to see and change what's underneath, understand the trade. You can't pick the model. Early users say the automatic routing is inconsistent and there's nothing you can do about it, because closed is the reason it feels this smooth, and closed is also the price of it. Both of those readings are true at once. Which one applies to you decides whether this is your tool or your cautionary tale. Which brings me to the advice I want to argue with, respectfully, because you'll hear it about every launch, including this one. The space moves fast, so try every tool that comes out. If you make content about AI, that's correct. It's literally the job. If you run a business, it's a way to lose every Thursday for a year. So here's the test I use instead. 3 questions, and they work on any launch, not just this one. 1, is the job real and repeating? Not a job you might have one day. A job you did more than twice last month, because automating something rare saves you nothing. 2, what's the blast radius when it's wrong? Anything that sends money, sends messages, or deletes things stays outside the fence until the tool has earned its way in. Reading, drafting, summarizing, researching, that's all inside the fence from day one. 3, would you be able to tell if it worked all night? Can you check what it did over coffee in 5 minutes? Because if you can't check it, you're not delegating, you're hoping, and hope is not a system. GrokBot clears question 1 easily for most businesses. Question 2 depends entirely on which accounts you hand it. And question 3 is exactly what the unpublished answers make hard, which is why the 5 questions and this test are really the same conversation. Full disclosure before we close. So you know exactly what you just watched. I installed this on my own machine, and everything you saw came from that install live on a clean account. What I haven't done is run my actual business through it. No real inboxes, no client work, no money anywhere near it. And after question 4, you know exactly why. I'm not rushing that part. And independent testing doesn't exist yet from anyone. So any confident claim about reliability this week is a guess wearing a suit, mine included. So treat this video as exactly what it is. It's what the product shows and what the documents say. Checked yesterday and none of it is a promise about how reliable the thing will be with your work. So let's land this. A team of agents that each own a computer that you teach by demonstration and that brief each other on your work. That's genuinely new, and it's the best out-of-the-box agent experience I've seen so far. It's also $200 a month for one person, or $120 a seat if you bring a team, with 5 reasonable questions still unanswered, and the controls that matter most sitting behind a sales call. So here's your move this week, and it costs nothing. Write down one job you did more than twice last month. Decide whether you could check the output in 5 minutes over coffee. If yes, hold that job ready, and the day the answers land, or the day you get access, you test it on something real instead of poking at it for an afternoon and learning nothing. Tell me in the comments which job you'd hand over first, because I read them, and the best answers shape what I test when I run this properly. And if you want the feature map, the questions, and the yearly numbers on one page, that's the GrokBot decision sheet inside the AI Founders Vault. The link is down in the description below. See you in the next one.